So, recurring trend is with me. This is kind of a mental health and fitness little update. Me. So I've been feeling very inclined. I'm a spiritual, things are. I try to listen to the spirit and stuff. So this is a little bit spirit post. But I felt very inclined for many months to go back to eating very keto, and when I mean very keto, I mean high producing ketone type of diet. For me and certain pretty serious mental health struggles, it helps so much, it's insane. And these are the kind of mental health struggles that, if they aren't treated, they ruin life. And these high ketones, and particularly when they're high, my ketones, do I feel like things are getting so much better with these problems. So much better. That it's just like, why would I ever even negotiate with not trying to have them? Maybe there's pros and cons to keto diet. I think that it's wonderful and changes a million and one people's lives that do it. I don't think it's for everyone. No, I really don't. But I think there's some people, based on their biology and their genetics and their unique code, I do believe in this, that thrive better on certain types of diets and eating. I think we are more individual than we want to think. And I really think I'm one of those people that thrives, and my biology and my brain chemistry, on high fat and low carb. And particularly very, very, pretty darn low carb. And the thing is, I still struggle with cravings. I've been an emotional eater for a long time, and I still struggle with emotional cravings and cravings in general, because I will kind of slip little things into my diet that just naturally will trigger cravings if you eat them. And things that aren't good for my PCOS either, my PCOS. And I'm trying to limit them to be healthy with, treat my, lean PCOS. I have lean PCOS, as they call it, because I'm obviously not overweight, but it's in my genetics. And yeah, but because I still kind of have those things here and there, those cravings always come back with a vengeance. And it's like today, I ate some things that just flirted with not being the most keto friendly, and I thought it would still be all right, but I was just craving things, and just bad cravings too, but I want to just kind of satisfy them. So I was eating some things that aren't real friendly to my ketone production, but I didn't quite know that they weren't, and I looked it up later, and yeah, they're not the greatest, but they also aren't real healthy food, so it's like, but I was just, it's just normal, just trying to satisfy craving. But it's even for PCOS, especially for PCOS, you can be really sensitive to gluten. A lot of people with PCOS, now I don't know for sure, but it's just, there's a lot of people with PCOS that don't do well on gluten, and it's like those, ultra refined keto bread, which is, they're not healthy at all. But anyway, my point is, I've been feeling way more help with my sleep, my energy, my mood. My anxiety's better. My anxiety's always kind of a problem. I struggle, but it gets way better. Everything just gets better when my ketones finally are getting up higher. And they were finally getting up higher again, and it was great. And but with little bites of things that don't really support it, sometimes my cravings come back on so strong I sabotage it. So this morning I woke up and I was just feeling depressed. Just ugly depression again. didn't think, I just like, I don't know why I'm like this morning. It just happens, I guess. And that's what I figured. Didn't think I was out of ketosis. Didn't think it was anything to do with that. But I checked my ketones later that day, later in the morning, and I was almost out of ketosis. So I learned something about, eating like a bunch of refined tortillas. I didn't think that they were, sometimes things that are later labeled keto aren't necessarily still keto friendly. If I had eaten less of them, probably still would have been fine, but it still would have been a lower ketosis. And this is all personal, by the way. I do not think everybody by any means even should be like this at all. I think this is not me trying to coach anyone into thinking they should eat like this. It is an extreme way of eating. But for me, for my struggles I have in here and just my unique biology, this is what saves me. Anyway, this kind of way I'm trying to eat, it really makes a difference to my whole quality of life. So anyway, and I was like, oh, because other times when I've accidentally bumped out of ketosis or gone into a lower ketosis, I've noticed the morning of when I've made the mistakes with the food, as I look back, I've fought depression. So with all this rambling said, it's important rambling to explain it all, is, sorry, my mouth is dry. I want to do, so a month of strict ketovore eating. I kind of eat ketovore, but to be honest, I still do these little slip-ins of the things that are not. Basically carnivore. I could call it carnivore, but it's just, I will have garnishes of things that are not. Like carnivore is a heavily healthy animal-based eggs. Lots of good eggs, but I will have some avocado, some greens, but it's going to be strictly limited, and I'm going to keep the carbs 15 or below, because I think a month of taking on a challenge like this will help me get rid of the type of cravings that routinely keep just yanking away what's helping me. It's a way to get rid of those cravings and try to just actually get them more permanently on the back burner and just kind of get them out of my life. And I could use for healing. I think it would be good and healing for my brain to have that high of ketones for a good straight period. And the total side note is it could help me with the fitness competition I'm doing, but that's not even the reason. But that is just a nice little, another motivation I have, just to help with it, because I did start another fitness competition and I really do want to do well. I haven't done that well, and I haven't done bad, but it's slow. So yeah, I am going to do a month-long ketovore, basically close to carnivore. We'll just call it carnivore. It's easier because it's pretty close. I do believe in eating some plants. If you're doing, even trying to do close to carnivore, just very strategically healthy plants. I do believe in that. But I also don't judge anyone that's cut them out and had their life change, because there's a lot of people that have their health and their life change in some almost shocking ways doing it. And I'm not going to judge them. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. I have watched tons on it, and it seems crazy to me because it's extreme. But I think some people's bodies are just super sensitive and super pissed off. And I think it's something with to do in the day and age we live in, or something, and what's added to all our food and stuff. And their lives change, cutting down to this. But point being, I'm going to do a challenge for a month that way. And it's going to be carnivore. It's going to be ketovore. I don't know what to call it. It will technically be ketovore, but it's strict ketovore. I am not going to fudge the lines. And if I do, I'm going to get right back on like a drill sergeant. Because I need this. I need to kick these things that are sabotaging not just fitness. It's not really fitness goals. It's just my mental health improving and then staying improved. Just these little habits and old patterns that haven't fully been kicked need to be really kicked so I can keep having things go well for me. And a month of more extreme, don't think it will hurt at all. I think it will bless 100% and be, it's not like it's full of healthy fat, full of fish, eating fish, meat, eggs, and lots of eggs because meat's expensive. Some sides of chia seeds. Like I said, this is where ketovore comes in, but it's like almost no carb plants. Sides of avocado, very, very specific portions of nuts, things like that, but in the very right portions. So come along with me. That was long-winded, but it was an important video for me. Yes. Other thing to mention, I kind of mentioned a little bit, it's not just about my depression and anxiety, but I mentioned the PCOS. I have PCOS, and it shocked me. And I'm very sensitive to sugar and carbs. Like, it's kind of, it's crazy having PCOS as somebody. This isn't a brag, this is just reality. I'm not bragging about myself. I'm just saying I am a person that has been into fitness and health for a very long time. It's really weird, and I found out that it's very heavy in my genetics, and blood sugar issues are very heavy in my genetics in general. They just are. So I'm not totally surprised, but I am totally surprised. But like I said, I have lean PCOS, and I noticed my blood sugars don't like it. As I've tracked my blood sugar over the last several months, I realized my body doesn't like sugar and excess carbs at all. It really doesn't. So that's part of my unique biology that's leading me this direction. And I know I don't have to explain myself, but I still kind of want to, because people will be like, well, and people still give you garbage for anything you do. But I'd like to have as much info out there to let people know that this really is, for me, personally, something I feel is very, very good and very right. And like I said, I'm a religious person. I believe in the spirit, and I felt the spirit burn it into my brain and heart and soul too. I really have, for off and on for several years, and I've been ignoring it. And I didn't know I had PCOS at that time when it first started feeling it. Even. But I had known keto would help me in the past. But anyway, won't go off on a tangent. But so when I do crave these things, it's like, well, yeah, you can, even if you bump back ketosis, get a little depressed, and getting depression's not something to mess with. I'm not really saying that at all. It's not even close. It ruins your life. But you could be like, well, it's just a treat here and there. It happens. But for my body, when I do that, my systems have an unhealthy reaction, and it causes problems with my insulin resistance that I'm working on reversing. And the more I stay keto and stuff, obviously the glucose numbers get better. And so just these little slip-ups that I want to stop craving so much, like these things that I just crave here and there that sabotage it. First of all, it ruining the mental health stuff that's starting to happen and make my life way better isn't worth it, but it's also not worth it for the health of my body and the way it affects it. So that's another reason I want to do this. Just because it's tough, but after a period of time, like a month, you can wipe some cravings out that are causing problems. And you have to grin and bear it through the tough parts, and it can be good before you know it, to be honest. I've heard some people say their cravings wipe out within a couple weeks of being, stalwart. And obviously it affects my hormones negatively too, because that's where the PCOS lies, in the hormones. So it's just not worth it to have these struggles, and I'm gonna try to wipe them out. I'm gonna finally try to do something big to wipe them out. Let's just put it this way. This paints a pretty big picture too. Ketones, good high ketones, do more for me times 10 million than any psychiatric drug, depression, anxiety drug has ever done. I mean, and way more than any of them have done. And that's saying a ton, because much I don't like to, it's vulnerable talking about this stuff. I've been on a lot of those different pills. What can you say about that? It just works. People I have actively followed too on YouTube and Instagram, and the doctors I've followed. Because I'm not just following the people that have done it, it's the doctors. There's doctors that promote this lifestyle for certain things like I struggle with. But the people I followed that do this, they are people like me, which just must have unique biology, and their biology and their brain just need this kind of approach, because they have had similar issues as me. It's certain types of issues that have followed it and done it for an extended period. It's not people I'm following that are doing it. I've only done it for a short while, and it's just kind of a fad for them. It's amazing. I can't even believe how much their lives have turned around and their health has turned around in ways I just can't, it's just mind-blowing, and it's everything I need. It's amazing. I almost can't believe it, but it's true. These people's health have turned completely around, and they've gotten their life back. And they're very similar to my issues. So many of the things that I have is what they had. So I'm just this huge believer in that people really are different. We are built different. It's just crazy. It's interesting. With that said, don't do things rash. I never do. Even when I first started the keto diet years ago, I researched the crap out of it. I listened to my internal guidance, which is the spirit. I prayed, and I looked into it like crazy, and I felt it was right. Never make a quick decision, especially if it's extreme, because generally we shouldn't go to extremes in general, but I think there are special, unique circumstances where some people do to treat big problems. Sometimes you have to do big things, and I think that can be the exception. If you don't have big problems to treat, I wouldn't say go these directions, and it doesn't just apply to this, there's other things too. Sometimes in life, for specific people, to treat a big problem and have it change, you do need to do big, kind of what might seem unconventional and odd things, and it actually is a blessing for that individual and their life and their quality of life.